my friends, and welcome back to another video. Today we're doing my July wrap-up. This wrap-up is going to be kind of interesting, kind of different. So I don't have any 5-star reads for the month of July. I know, crazy, shocking, surprise, awe. I don't know what happened, but I did not rate any books 5 stars. Also, I am not going to give you a synopsis for every book, or probably any of them, to be honest. I have talked about each of these books so many times, and actually most of them very, very recently in my previous videos. So I don't want to waste too much time just going over the same things that I've been going over in every video. It's going to be very repetitive for you and me. So what I'm going to do is it's going to be the same setup. I'm going to start with DNFs, work our way up to the top, but I'm going to tell you why I rated it and my thoughts, and that's about it. So we'll see. If you all hate this, I will never do it again. But if you like it, that could be a thing where I just don't waste time on the synopsis of a book in my wrap-ups. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. This is like a trial run. Also, July, I participated in Summerween, so I vlogged Summerween, and these books are going to be included in the wrap-up, so I will mention which books were for Summerween in case you didn't watch my Summerween TBR or my Summerween vlog. But otherwise, let's get into it. I have 16 books to talk about and a lot to say about a lot of them, so let's get into it. First up is the DNF, and I'm really sad about this book. I'm really sad about this book, but it is Geek Love by Catherine Dunn. This was part of my Summerween TBR. This is also part of the 22 books I want to read in 2022. This book is just so dense for me. It was so dense. I couldn't focus. I wasn't interested. I was not following the writing. I just could not get into this book for the life of me. And this wasn't the first dud that I had previously. I was reading other books that I wasn't super crazy about, so when this one came along, I was like, no, I'm gonna have to DNF. I'm gonna have to DNF. I'm hoping that this is more of a temporary DNF. I do want to give this book another shot because I want to like it. I really do. I want to love it. I do. So I'm gonna try again later in the future, maybe when I wasn't reading it for a readathon and I can focus a little bit more on it and give it more of my full attention, and I don't know, maybe in a different headspace it won't bother me as much. I'm not sure. I made it to page, 105. Not very far. But yeah, I had to call it quits, unfortunately. But I'm hoping I can try again. Next up is the 2.5 star category. I have 2 books here. I am not excited to have these in my 2.5 star category, but what can you do? The first one is Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. I also read this for Summerween, and I am not a sci-fi gal. I don't really care for sci-fi movies. I don't really care for sci-fi horror. I don't really care for sci-fi books, obviously. It's not my thing. It's not really my, my genre. I don't know, I just don't click with it. I don't connect with it. So this book was incredibly boring to me. I thought it took way too long to get interesting. I couldn't connect to any of the characters. I didn't care about any of them. I wasn't interested in what the characters were doing. I wasn't really interested in the explanation for everything in the end. It just was all very meh to me. I didn't have very positive feelings the whole time. Also, the romance in this book was so aggravating. There was no point to the romance in this book, and this is coming from someone who absolutely loves romance in horror or just romance in books in general, but this had no purpose. It was so bland. There was no reasoning behind it. It was just so weird. It was just there, and it didn't really make sense, and I didn't really like it. So I didn't really care about anything that was happening in this book, And yeah, I'm pretty sad about it. I was hoping this was going to be the book that opened my eyes to sci-fi. Unfortunately, I can confidently say that that is not what happened. I'm going to probably be unhauling this and giving it to my partner. He loves sci-fi and he said he was interested in this book. So yeah, this is gonna be leaving my shelves. Yeah. Next in the 2.5 star category is a book that I am so sad to put in this category. You have absolutely no idea. I was so excited to read this book, but it just did not work for me, and that is Old Country by Matt Query and Harrison Query. This was actually sent to me. This was an ARC that I was given by Grand Central Publishing and Novel Suspects. So I was really grateful that I was given an ARC of this book because I was really excited to read it. But oh my gosh, I did not like this. From the back, I didn't actually know, but on the back it says it's based on the Reddit sensation, and honestly, I'm really sad about that because we all know I loved Pen Pal so much, and Pen Pal started out as a Reddit story, so I had high hopes when I actually saw that. I don't think this should have been an actual novel. I think it should have been a novella. This was unnecessarily long, and it's not even that long. It's a little over 300 pages, I think, almost 400 pages, but it's unnecessarily long. I did not care about any of these characters. I thought they were stupid. I thought they were ignorant. I thought everything they did was just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. The only character I cared about was Dash the Golden Retriever, who was the smartest by far in this book. And the only reason I read to the end was to make sure that Dash made it out alive because he was the only one I cared about. The husband in this book is a former Marine, and there is so much talk of his time in the Marines that I was bored to tears. I did not care. I did not think it was that relevant. I understand why the authors thought it was relevant, but honestly, it really wasn't to me. He's also such a problematic character. The anger issues this guy has, no thank you. The overall plot was a good idea, but it was executed so poorly in my opinion. I didn't find it creepy. I didn't find it scary. I think the idea was there, but it just wasn't pushed enough. And again, I really think this should have been a novella. It was way too long, too many unnecessary details, too many characters who sucked. And honestly, I just read, I read the whole thing just to find out if Dash was going to be okay. That's literally, that was my driving force. I don't feel ashamed to say that I read this whole book just to find out if the dog was okay in the end. So, yeah, I didn't like this, unfortunately. I'm really sad about it. I think it had the makings to be really great, and it just really wasn't. Next up is the 3-star category. I have one book here, and I'm not really surprised this book is here, to be honest, because I didn't have high expectations for it, but, you know, that's whatever. And that book is The Haunting of Las Lagrimas by W.M. Cleese. So this is another Mexican Gothic-esque book, and I did not have too high hopes for it because we all know that the Hacienda also disappointed me by claiming that it was Mexican Gothic-esque, and I did not feel like it lived up to the beautiful magnificentness that Mexican Gothic is. This one was pretty boring. I feel like if you like standard Gothic haunted stories, like haunted estate, haunted house, you know, kind of vibes, you'll probably really enjoy this. I have a love-hate relationship with Gothic horror. I think it's too slow most of the time, and this one definitely is just too slow. Not a lot happens, and I just wasn't really connecting to the story or the characters or anything really. So I don't know, I just couldn't focus when I was reading it. I was just kind of like, I just want it to be done. I just want it to be over. Like, let's get this over with. I did read this for Summerween as well. I think I prefer the Hacienda over this one because at least in the Hacienda we had a romance that was keeping me alive. This had nothing. for me. So, you know, I thought it was a pretty average gothic haunted estate kind of thing. I don't think it's better than Mexican Gothic or the Hacienda in my opinion. So yeah, that's where it falls in my ranking. I just wasn't overly impressed with this one. When you say it's like Mexican Gothic, I have really high expectations for it, so I was just a little bit disappointed by this one. Next up is the 3.5 star category. I have quite a bit in this category, so let's get started. First up is The Island by Adrian McKenty. So this is a very popular summer thriller. Everyone's been talking about it. I know it's been getting rave reviews, and honestly, I didn't quite know how I felt about it after I finished it. This book also was sent to me for review, and I was really excited about this one. It's a survival thriller. My biggest issue with this is the first half of the book I didn't really like. I didn't like the characters. I didn't really care about them. And the situation that they get themselves into, I didn't really feel bad for them. Like, I know that sounds mean, but they were not the brightest people or the smartest people. I wasn't really like, you know, I was just like, okay, whatever. I'm not feeling any emotion for you. The second half of the book I did enjoy more. I did feel a little bit more of an emotional connection towards the characters. I did start liking them a bit more, and I did like the more intensity that the survival aspect brought to the thriller. But I don't know, that first half just really didn't do much for me, and so I just couldn't give this higher than a 3.5. I just don't think it's my new favorite thriller. I don't think it's my new favorite survival thriller. I didn't think it really did anything new or different enough to make it a 4-star. So unfortunately, that's why I placed it here. I did overall enjoy it. Like, I did like it. Like I said, the second half is much better in my opinion, but that first half really just brought the score down for me, unfortunately. But, you know, I know a lot of people love this one, so I think it's definitely worth checking out if you have been wanting to give this one a read. Next up is a book that I have so many mixed feelings about, and rating it was incredibly hard for me, and that is The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. I love slashers. I love the final girl trope. They are what I grew up on in horror. It's some of my absolute favorite tropes just in general, and this played right into my little final girl slasher loving heart. And there are so many hidden Easter eggs in this book that I was having so much fun finding the Easter eggs and being like, oh, I know what this is referencing. Oh, I know this one. Oh, this is so cute. This is so cool. So honestly, in that regard, this is like a 5-star. This was so nostalgic for me. It brought me so many emotions. It made me laugh, like looking at all the stuff. I was just getting so excited, and I loved just all the references. I think Grady Hendrix does a really great job of making his books really fun in that way. What really didn't work for me is the actual plot of this book. It's not bad. It's not a bad plot. It's just not what I expected. And I understand where Grady Hendrix was going. I get it. I don't think it necessarily worked for me. And that hurts my heart so bad. I love Grady Hendrix. I do. And I love the final girl trope. I love slashers, and so I just really wanted this to work for me. I wanted it to be a 5-star. I wanted it to become a new favorite, but the plot was just so lackluster. I've seen a lot of people saying that they felt like it was more of an action movie kind of feel, and I do have to agree. It does feel like that more than a horror or even like a thriller in my opinion. It wasn't very like thrilling. I really wish Grady had done some other things with this plot. There are some little parts of the plot that I wish had been expanded upon a little bit more instead of some of the other things that went on. So that was a little bit disappointing for me. What this book symbolizes and how it like made me feel, I want it to be higher, but that plot was just so not fun for me, and it was just, I was having a hard time getting into it. The characters are very interesting. Not quite what I expected. I didn't hate them, but it was hard for me to be invested in them. At the end, I did feel a bit more emotionally invested towards the characters, and I did have this like connection towards them, but it did take me a minute for this to get going. So unfortunately, I did give this a 3.5. I don't think it's a bad book. It's just not what I wanted from what it sounded like. Next up, we have the only romance that I read this month, and that is The Dating Dare by J.C. Lee. So this wasn't what I don't know, maybe I wasn't in the mood for a romance when I picked it up, but I wasn't feeling it when I read it. I don't know, I couldn't connect to either of the characters, so their romance, while it was cute, I didn't really feel anything towards it. I wasn't like wanting to cry that they got together, or like just like praying that everything worked out. Like, it was just more of like a, this is fun, this is stimulating me, this is, you know, keeping me entertained, but that's about it. I wanted to like the characters more, but I just couldn't feel connected towards them. I don't know. I had a problem with that a lot this month. I don't know what that is, but it just happened again with this. Also, this book kind of did that cut to a black screen thing where they're about to, you know, get a little smutty, a little steamy, and then the author is like, and scene, and you're like, oh, okay, no, that's fine too, sure. So, you know, it was just okay in my opinion. It wasn't like amazing. I would definitely read more by this author now that I know what to expect. But this just wasn't like my favorite romance of all time, you know? Okay, the last book for Summerween is Kill River by Cameron. I forget to look up this last name every time. I still don't know how to say it. Kill River. This is a slasher. I had very high hopes for this book. This is a very interesting slasher to me. One, the kids in here are 13 and 14 years old, which, I don't know, just weirds me out. I don't know, it might just be me, but 13 and 14 and like some of the things that they were doing, like the little sneaky off thing, I was like, ah, you're young. I mean, like, I get it. I don't know, I think I'm old, but reading this just made me feel really like, what? Ew. So, that threw me for a loop. 2, this is a slow slasher. Holy guacamole. This took like 140 pages for them to get to the water park, and I was like, excuse me? This is not a fast-paced slasher. This is, why? Huh? I'm just used to really like actiony, fast-paced slashers, and this was just so slow. 140 pages? Oh my goodness. So, you know, that was kind of weird. And then, you know, I think it was okay. I feel like the gore could have been amped up a bit, but it was fun. It was entertaining. It was an easy read. The ending made me laugh. I said this in my vlog, but the ending was just so weird to me. When everything is said and done and everything's over, just the way these people glossed over everything that happened was so funny to me. But I will be picking up the others because I am kind of interested, and I do want to know if I like the others more than this one. I do think this is a fun time. I don't think it was a bad book. It's just not like a new favorite slasher by any means, for me at least. Next and last in the 3.5 star category is Audition by Ryu Murakami. This is the book that the movie is based on. And I was very interested in this because I do like the movie a lot, but I wanted to see what the book did differently. The movie follows the book very, very, very closely and very well. Definitely if you are looking for it to, I think, do something different, you're not gonna really get that, which is kind of what I was wanting. I wanted a little bit more information, and while I do think this gave me a better understanding through the thought process going on, I don't necessarily know if I just am remembering the movie wrong. Like, I just didn't catch something in the movie, and so when I read the book, it was like, oh yeah, that's right. So I don't know if I'm just not remembering correctly. This only really gave me a little bit more information. It was enough to like make me happy, but I just can't tell if that was a me thing or if the movie doesn't come right out and say something and now I don't remember. So I'm gonna have to watch the movie and see if that is true, because I don't really remember. But this definitely at least made more sense to me in terms of just them spelling it out for me instead of just like seeing it on a movie. So I liked that, but otherwise I honestly would just watch the movie. I really like the movie. Just personally, I would just rather sit and watch the movie if I wanted a refresher on the story instead of sitting down and reading the book. But that's just personal preference. You know, who knows? But it was a pretty good book, so I feel like if you like the movie, you'd probably enjoy the book. Next up is the 4-star category. I have quite a bit in this category as well, which is very interesting. 4-star and 3.5 star were really the big ones this month, which is, I don't know, just interesting to me. So first up in the 4-star category is The Overnight Guest by Heather Gudenkauf, I think is how you say that. Yes, I know. I was reading some snowy stuff in July. Don't come for me, okay? I don't like summer. I prefer snowy horror and snowy thrillers. So I needed a little cool down in the middle of July, alright? I actually had really high hopes for this book and I ended up really enjoying it. For me, this book is a cross between Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell and Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. Those two books mixed is like this book. They're very similar. Like, a lot of things I really enjoy in those two books happen in this one, which those two books are also, no, Local Woman Missing I gave 5 stars and Then She Was Gone I gave 4. So it's kind of interesting that this also got a 4 because I feel like I just really like that kind of thriller, I guess. This was very emotional. This made me cry. I was a little baby reading it. I love a snowy, isolated thriller. Obviously, that's like my favorite thing in the entire world. A lot of people said that it doesn't have too much snowy moments, but honestly, I was happy with that. I didn't think it was like not enough. I was just like, oh, because there's like 3 POVs in this, so I guess just one of them is a snowy, isolated POV, but I didn't think it was like too little of the snowy aspect to make me upset. I did enjoy each POV. I really liked the way the story connected. It might have been a little bit predictable, like a little bit, just a little bit, but the overall plot was good enough for me that I didn't mind the predictability of this book. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun and definitely a good snowy, isolated thriller to cool you down in the summertime. Or, you know, you can read it in the winter too. Next up is probably the most controversial book in my wrap-up ever, probably. I'm sorry. If you watched my vlog, you already know how I feel about this. But yeah, The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I actually really liked this book. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was enjoyable. I know people thought it was boring and slow and annoying that the main character was an alcoholic and talking about alcohol all the time. And I know everyone hated the twist. Look, the twist worked for me. It leaned more horror and I was super into that. I was so here for it. I actually thought it was really good. I wasn't bored or disinterested at any moment in time. I was super invested in the story. I liked the way it went. I liked the route it took. I liked the characters. I liked it all. I thought it was fun. It might have been like a little weird, a little out there for some people if they were expecting a typical thriller from Riley Sager, but honestly, my little horror loving heart was so happy that he leaned more horror, just cause, you know, that's my genre of choice. So a thriller that leans more horror is definitely going to make me more happy than just a regular boring thriller. So next up in the 4-star category is a very dark book. This should definitely be in the next part of my disturbing books video because this one is very disturbing, and that is Saving Noah by Lucinda Berry. So this deals with some very heavy subject matter and it's like really in your face, so definitely look up triggers and content warnings for this one because you can't escape it. That's the whole center of this book, is just, you know, it really goes there. Reading this book was incredibly frustrating, and I don't mean like the writing or anything, it's just the characters. Like, listening to these characters talk about what's going on is so messed up. The mom in this book, I wanted to punch her. I wanted to punch her a million times. I thought she was incredibly selfish. I thought she was incredibly dumb. And honestly, she was just not smart. Like, the way she was thinking about things was just so ignorant. Like, I don't know. Like, it was a lot. I felt a lot of emotions. I kept, like, making, this face and, like, that face. And I kept telling Justin what was happening. I was like, this lady, you want to know what this lady said? I was like, let me read you what this lady said. And I was losing my mind. The ending, I thought the plot twist already happened, so I was a little disappointed because I looked at Justin and I was like, this isn't a plot twist. I already know this. What are they talking about? And then the plot twist happened and I literally was like, oh. So A+ for the plot twist because I did not see that coming. Yeah, it was a good plot twist. This is a good book. Very hard to read, very difficult and dark and messed up, but I thought it was pretty well done and I liked the way Lucinda Berry did it. I thought it was pretty good. Next up is Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. This is also a very popular new release. I buddy read this with Neen. Their channel name is Books with Neen. I will have them linked down below if you want to go give them a follow, watch, you know the drill. This book, very, very quick, very easy to read. I liked the nanny job plot. I thought that was fun. The pictures inside this book really, really made the experience. I highly recommend to anyone who is an audio book reader, I highly recommend reading this physically because the pictures really, 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 really add a lot to the story. I just don't know where I stand with this ending. It's not like my favorite ending of all time. I was definitely shocked. The twist was shocking, like I didn't see it coming, but I don't know necessarily if I liked it. I definitely liked the majority of this book. That one little bit is it's definitely weird. I don't really get it. I don't know. My rating could go lower. I don't know. But for right now, I think I like it enough to give it a 4-star. And lastly in the 4-star category is Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. Sadly, this is not a 5-star book. I really did enjoy this one. I love Jennifer Hillier. I think her writing is just so good. I find her to be so underrated and just, I don't know, I think people need to talk more about her, but I love everything she does. This book for me was a little bit predictable. I definitely saw where it was going very early on, which is why it's not a 5-star. Just because her other 2 books that I've read, Little Secrets and Jar of Hearts, their plot twists were wild to me and I did not see them coming at all. So this one was just too predictable and that was a little bit disappointing. But I really enjoyed the overall story of this one and the characters and the way it went I really liked. I found this one to be really emotional and like, I don't know, really pulled at my heart. I was crying, but I'm a big baby. It's not that surprising, but I did get a little emotion while reading it. I definitely liked it, but it's just not my favorite Jennifer Hillier right now. I like the idea. I like where she was going with it, and I do like how everything turned out. It just wasn't like, it's just not a new favorite for me. Next up is the 4.5 star category, the last category because I have no 5-star reads. These two books are definitely potential 5-star rounded up. You know what I mean? Like, if I think about them long enough, I feel like I would round them up to 5 stars. But just like in the moment how I feel right now, they're definitely just more of a 4.5. But in the future, I do think they could be 5 stars. The first book up is I Remember You by Ursa Sigurdardóttir. I know, every time I say it, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the pronunciation on the back and I'm trying my hardest. I love this book. This book surprised the absolute crap out of me. I did not think I was going to like it as much as I did. This is a cold, wintry, isolated, snowy, Icelandic horror thriller crime book. That's the best way I can explain it because it's kind of a mix of all of those, right? This is a ghost story, and the why I love this book, why I fell so in love with this book, is it kept me on my freaking toes. Okay? I had no idea what was happening this entire book. I was like, wait, what? Wait. And then every time I'd get new information, I was like, hold on, what is happening? And I was trying to piece it together, right? I'm like that meme with the guy from, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, I believe that's the show, and he's looking at the board with the pictures and the string, and he's like all crazy, you know what I'm talking about? That meme, that was me trying to figure out what was happening in this book. And when a book trips me up that much, it's getting a high score, okay? I absolutely loved the POVs. I absolutely loved how everything connected and how the story just like unfolded in the end. This surprised the absolute crap out of me. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was creepy and dark, and I could feel the like cold coming off of the pages. Ugh, it was just such a pleasant experience reading this book. The only reason I did not give this 5 stars, and you all are gonna laugh at me, is the ending made me a little upset. Just a little bit. It was a good ending, but just like I was a hair upset, okay? Because of one thing. And I couldn't give it 5 stars because I was being a little child about it, and I was like, you hurt my feelings, I'm not gonna give you 5 stars. So you're a 4.5, okay? So yeah, I was being a little petulant child about it. So it definitely could be a 5 star if I just get over my my own little issues with it. But this was really, really good. I really liked it. I loved it. Oh, it's so good. Okay, anyways, yeah, I love this book. Next up and last in this wrap up is Rosemary's Baby by Ira Levin. This is a classic horror story. It's also a movie, and I feel like everyone has read this book but me. And this was one of my 22 books for 2022 because I wanted to read a classic, because I feel like I have a love-hate relationship with classics, right? I feel like they're never for me and I never really like them. I loved Rosemary's Baby, okay? I knew the plot because I've seen the movie, so I knew what was going to happen, but reading it was like a whole new experience for me, and honestly, I was invested. Like, even though I knew how the ending played out, I was sitting here like, oh, no, oh my god, and I'm literally like, Erin, you've seen the movie, like, you know the story, are you okay? So I think when a book does that, that's a pretty good book. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. Don't pay attention to this ugly cover. I'm still mad that I have this cover. I'm still mad that I got this ugly, ugly cover. I'm still mad about it. And you bet your butt I will be buying a different copy of this book because this is not staying in my collection. A 4.5 beautiful book does not deserve this ugly cover, okay? It doesn't. It doesn't. And it will not be allowed on my shelves looking like this. Okay, Rosemary's Baby, you need to change. You need to look cuter. You're not allowed to be here, right? So I will be buying a new edition because I hate this one. But I loved Rosemary's Baby and I feel like I could see myself rereading this one. And yeah, I really enjoyed my time with Rosemary's Baby. I'm so happy I read it and I'm so happy I ended up liking it. Because, you know, classics and me, we don't really get along, you know? Unless it's Frankenstein. But now I have another classic that I love. And that makes me happy. There you have it, my friends. That is all for my July wrap-up. I know, kind of crazy. I feel like I read a lot. Like, I had wows. Like, I Remember You and Rosemary's Baby. Those ones really wowed me, but so many others were just, like, a little bit lackluster for me. I'm sad I didn't have 5 stars. Like, for me, Little Miss rates everything 5 stars because she cries at it or feels some kind of way. Like, hello, that's me. And why didn't I have a 5 star? I don't know. July was a weird month. July was a weird month. So I'm hoping August, give me some 5 stars. A lot of 5 stars. Let's just have a ton of 5 stars. But yeah, that's it for my July wrap-up. I feel like this is a lot speedier than normal because I didn't give you a synopsis for every book, so I hope you all enjoyed and you didn't mind that I did that. You can let me know in the comments if it made you very angry at me and you hate it. And if everyone says that, then I will never do this again. Please let me know in the comments down below what your favorite read of July was. You can also let me know what your least favorite read of July was. I'd love to know both, either or both, whichever you want to do. And yeah, if you enjoyed my wrap-up, please give me a thumbs up. It lets me know that you enjoy my wrap-ups. That way I can keep providing you with wrap-ups. If you haven't already, you can subscribe to my channel and we can become friends and talk about spooky books, scary books, horrifying books, thrillers, romance, manga, all that fun stuff. And with that being said, I hope you are having a great day, night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!